while back, I was writing something about the Hogarth Press, started and run by Leonard and Virginia Woolf, and in the course of learning a little about it, I read that the Hogarth Press declined to publish Ulysses by James Joyce. That was clear and simple, but the reasons for it were not. I read that the Woolfs did not like the book, held to be a major critical failure on their part. I read that the Woolfs were offended by some of the more profane passages in the book, and so refused to take part in its publication. And I read that the book was so long that the Woolfs turned it down solely for that reason, as all the type for the press was set by hand. I do not know if any or all of this is true, only that they did not publish the book. But this got me thinking about Joyce, academia's darling, and I thought I should read something by him. It certainly was not going to be Finnegan's Wake. I will take it as gospel that it is a work of overwhelming genius, crammed with learning, language, puns, and the way the end of the book swirls back to the beginning, and while that may be a monumental achievement, it's not for me. I don't even love Ulysses. Of course I was impressed with it, it was made to be impressive, but I didn't enjoy it. I know readers are devoted to it, and they speak it aloud all over the world every Bloomsday, June 6th? But it's not for me. I wasn't even wild about the portrait of an artist as a young man, which I read so long ago I probably should read it again. But it's more than I want to take on, so I decided that I would read something from The Dubliners, the final story, The Dead. I thought I could manage that. Before I get to that, let me say that I was in the library looking for something to read and I couldn't find anything, though I was mightily impressed by the fact that there is virtually nothing that has ever happened that has not been written about. So many books on so many subjects, and this was just the shelves of my branch library. While I was looking, I came across a book by Elmore Leonard, something about the 10 mistakes you should never make in writing. I have come across this before on the internet. It's a very well-known piece of work, but this was the first time I'd seen the book. I picked it up and had a look. It's like a children's book, very short and full of illustrations, plus the 10 mistakes you should never make in writing. And why I mention this is because when I was reading The Dead, Leonard's book came to mind and I realized that Joyce was emphatically making those mistakes, or at least all the ones I could remember. I'm not sure what that says about Joyce or Leonard. The Dead is a story about a man, Gabriel Conroy, who attends a Christmas party given by 2 of his aunts who are quite elderly. Gabriel has been attending this party for years. At the party, we see that Gabriel is an altogether conventional fellow. He is decent, considerate, generous, charitable, thoughtful, intelligent, a little impatient at times, is annoyed when he's expected to fawn over his native land, Ireland. He tries to please and would much rather smooth things over than provoke or argue. He makes a speech about the virtues of hospitality, wholesomely praising his aunts and deploring the lack of this spirit in the younger generation. After the party, he and his wife, rather than travel a long distance through the night and snow, stay in a hotel, and Gabriel is overcome with strong feelings for her, both tender affection and physical lust. When he makes his advance, however, she bursts into tears. A song she heard at the party, poorly sung because the singer could not recall the lyrics and had a touch of a cold, but that song reminded her of a man she knew years ago who sang that same song. Gabriel asks if she loved him, and he is prepared to be jealous, but it's going to be much worse for him than that. The man is dead. He died years ago, and his wife tells him that he died because of her. He was in failing health, she tells him, and she was about to leave the village. He came to see her at night, tossing pebbles at a window to attract her, and she rushed out to see him. It was cold and raining, and she expressed concern, but he said that because she was leaving, he did not care if he lived. She left the next day, and he died within the week, her long-lost love, her Romeo. His wife falls asleep, and Gabriel lies down beside her. He thinks the young man must have loved his wife, a feeling he has never known and will never know. He realizes that his limited, conventional self could never be capable of such fulsome expression. He finds himself diminished and on his way to death. The end of the story, with the snow falling on all of them, the hotel, the scene of the party, the graveyard where the young man is buried, reminded me of the way Virginia Woolf began the sections of her book, The Years. Gabriel, who was so excited about connecting with his wife, is left with the realization that all he has is his poor self, and time, and that, like all else, faintly falling faintly, is running out.